Hello and welcome to the Knitting Traditions Podcast. My name is Inga and this is my little corner on the internet where I talk about my knitting. Today I am coming to you from, is it the 10th of December? Yes, it's the 10th of December on the west coast of Norway. It's minus degrees but no snow currently outside, and I'm cozied up inside with a Christmas coffee in my little Christmas mug and surrounded by a lot of knits that I really want to be knitting on. I have a lot of knitting mojo, but not a whole lot of time this far in December. I have released 2 Vlogmas videos this far, and I'm working on a third one. I just need to get a little bit more Christmassy things happening before I edit and upload a third one, but I wanted to come to you with a regular podcast episode before we travel away for Christmas this season. We're going to be going to Bergen and have an early celebration with my parents, and then we're going south to Kristiansand and Matthias's family for Christmas Eve, which is the big celebration in Norway, and then New Year's Eve at the cabin with friends. So we're gonna be gone for about a month. So lots of packing needs to happen, and I'm trying to plan my knits. So I'm gonna show you what I am definitely bringing and maybe bringing. And of course the regular what I finished since last time and what I'm working on. And what I am wearing, this is a self-drafted top-down circular boxy cropped sweater. I knit stripes using piece fleece. I had 1 skein in each color, but the green one is mule spinner yarns, and I had 2 skeins of that one. So that is used for the cuffs, the double neckline, and the bottom ribbing, as well as a stripe or 2, 3 on the sleeves, 2 on the body. And I love this sweater. I think I knit 8 rounds per color before changing, and I don't remember how I did the increases, but it's very comfortable, and I like to wear it in the fall and winter because it's very easy to throw on and it is warm, which is what I need. So cozy up with something and let's get into the knits. So since last time, I finished a stocking for Nelly, a gigantic Christmas stocking. This is the Black Mountain stocking, and I believe it's by Laura Tabbut, but I have misplaced my phone, so I will put it down below. I knit the larger size. She has several stocking patterns, and I've bought 4 of them. This is the Black Mountain one. It comes in 2 sizes, and I made the bigger one. I thought I had made the bigger one for Matthias last year, but I just unpacked it the other day, and turns out that his stocking, the Pembroke stocking, I made in a smaller size. So Nelly's sock is quite a bit larger, but that's fine. Next year, I'm probably going to knit one for me, one of the other patterns that I have, and I will make that one in the smaller size, so me and Matthias have the same size, and Nelly and future potential children will have big size stockings. So I am planning on packing these with me, as well as some thrifted stockings that I have hanging over there for celebrations with my family and Matthias's family, and we're gonna do like a secret Santa kind of thing where we've drawn a name and get a little thing for that person and put in the stockings, so kind of create our own little Christmas traditions. Christmas stockings isn't a normal tradition in Norway, so that's how we're gonna do it, and my family at least. Maybe put some candies in. And that is what I finished since last time. I enjoyed knitting the Black Mountain stocking a lot more than the Pembroke stocking because there wasn't any duplicate stitching that needed to be done. And a modification I did is I did not do an I-cord for the loop. I just put several strands of yarn through and I braided it and then sewed it down on the inside. Last year I did as intended with the I-cord. I think they both work, and this was a lot faster, so I'll probably do that again in the future. And yes, so that is what I finished since last time. I have been plugging away at my Olympia sweater. The yarn and book was gifted to me by Unit in Toronto. It's their new book that is a collaboration with Laine Publishing. It's called Memory Lane by Claudia and it's a lot of dainty designs with beading and color work and lace work. And the Olympia sweater that I'm making is a very simple, elegant top-down raglan, but it has a bow in the back. And here you can see a photo of the sample. I am knitting it in a greenish gray color. And I have finished the body since last time. So I have done the neckline and the raglan and the body, and I've put the ribbon in just because I think it looks a lot nicer when I'm knitting on it to see the envisioning how it's going to be in the end. And I've been knitting on this in the evenings because I would really like to have this ready for Christmas and be this year's Christmas sweater to have over dresses, because it is cold here. And now I just started the sleeves last night, so I have one on a rubber cord on hold and the other one I'm knitting on a small circular. I'm using my Haya sharps. I really enjoy knitting with them. I find they are faster than my wood needles, which I also love, but these are very sharp and pointy, which I find makes it a bit easier to catch both strands, because I'm knitting with a lace strand, a merino silk, and a silk mohair lace strand. So there are two very thin strands, and I don't want to drop one of the strands because that will feel very thin for that stitch. So I find that it helps with these very pointy needles to catch them both. I often knit stockinette without looking, so that makes it even more important to catch them. So now it's just stockinette on the sleeves and a little bit of ribbing, and then this is going to be done. And it is so soft. The silk mohair is Emilia and Philomene in the base called Leona in the color Tangram. And I have the other ball band here for the lace weight. It's the Emilia and Philomene in the daphnee base in the color eucalyptus. And for this sweater, Unit Toronto sent me 2 skeins of the daphnee, which is the merino silk base, and 3 hanks of the silk mohair. I have started my second ball of silk mohair, but I'm still on my first skein of the merino silk, so we'll see how much I end up using in the end. Now, I did make it quite a lot more cropped than intended in the pattern, because in the pattern it's a full length, but since I would like to wear this over dresses, I wanted it to be more cropped. It's not super cropped, it'll still cover the top of my pants when I wear pants, but my pants are also always high-waisted, so I think I knit to about 25 centimeters, maybe not even that, before starting the ribbing, and I made the intended 4.5 centimeters of ribbing. And I'll show you once it is completely finished how it looks. So that is my little Canadian Christmas sweater. Not in a typical Christmas color, but I think it's going to look really nice with a red or burgundy dress, which I need to pack. Another project that has been getting a lot of attention is my Advent knit this year. And I am knitting on the Zigzag Zen blanket by Annie Knits. She also has a podcast here on YouTube, and she is Such a lovely woman. You should check her out. And if you have an advent that you don't know what to do with, or even if you just have a lot of scraps in your stash, this blanket is very chocolate chippy. So I am using an advent that I was gifted from Camijo Knits, Camijo Design, Camijo Yarn. She has several accounts on Instagram. And this is her H.C. Andersen advent, which is bringing back a lot of memories to me from fairy tales that I grew up reading or being read to. And for this blanket, you make sections of 4 stripes, and then you add on sections. So you can stop after each section if you run out of yarn or if you feel like it's big enough. It's supposed to be knit with fingering held double or a DK weight yarn on 5mm needles, but I wanted to make sure that I could knit with all the minis, and I think I would need to do 12 sections, and I think if I were to have held it double, I might have not been able to finish with like the last 2 days of the advent to have enough to finish a stripe. So I decided to wing it and knit with a single strand instead on 3.75mm needles, and hopefully that should allow me to knit a stripe with every color of the advent. I'm currently knitting on the 10th color right here. I need to find the little advent sheet. The 10th color is the Fir Tree. I'm not sure if that is a fairy tale that I have read as a child, so I will have to look it up today. And I'm alternating with just a simple white color, which is a Lanagato merino cashmere blend that I had in stash. And the reason I think this would be a perfect way to work up stash yarn or scrap yarn is you could find the tiniest scraps and start with those, and then work your way through larger scraps as you get to bigger and longer stripes. And it's very nice. I've been only doing 1 colored stripe and 1 white stripe per day, and it's still very manageable with the size that I'm knitting on now. I am able to knit these 2 stripes and still knit on something else before going to bed. I think it will be more difficult as it gets closer to Christmas Eve as the sections get longer and longer, but we're also going to be around family, so maybe I will have just a little bit more knitting time if somebody else is playing with Nelly during the daytime, because right now it's pretty much just in the evening that I'm knitting on this. But I'm really enjoying the process of it. A lot of these colors are maybe not something that I would go for like a garment project, because I prefer solid colors, but I think they are very beautiful, and it is very satisfying to knit up these stripes and just have like a little thing every day as a constant. So I could see myself adding to this later with other stash yarn or older advents that I still have a few minutes left of. Maybe this Akami that I got 2 years ago could go into this nicely. We shall see. It might be big enough for what I want it to be as well. I was thinking this is going to be a blanket for Nelly. Can never have enough blankets, but we shall see. I am working on this, and I am balling up all the little balls of yarn because I think that looks extra cute, and I'm gonna put them in a glass jar once I am done, because all of these I have finished knitting with. So you can see there's a slight size difference to one of the earlier colors and one of the later colors because I am knitting a lot more stitches now. And yeah, we shall see. This is a non-superwash 100% merino base, so if I were to put it into socks, I would probably need to hold it with a silk mohair or something to give it a bit more durability, but that is definitely an option. And I am putting it, as I'm knitting on it, inside a bag that I made. I went to a local crafts guild, and they had like a open house that you could join for an evening. They had 2 hours, and they would teach you how to make bags for Christmas gifts. So instead of wrapping paper, you put your gift in these reusable bags. Me and my cousin, as knitters, went there thinking we would make project bags, and that is exactly what this has become, a Christmas-inspired project bag. And I went home and I sewed up a bunch more just to kind of get the hang of it. So I have made these 3, and I made this one, and I also made some for gifts, and I tried my hand at making a bigger one, so I also did that. So now I know how to make these very simple project bags, because I have a lot of whips. I have more whips than I have bags. So now I know how to make them. If I ever feel the need to and inspired, I can take my sewing machine out and create some more with some scraps fabric that I just had lying around, which was very nice. Old like bed sheets and linens and tablecloths and curtains. So that has been my daily knitting. I have done just a tiny bit of knitting on my second sock tube, not a lot. I was just knitting on this as we were being explained how the sewing class was going to work, because a lot of the people at that meeting were just there to knit. So I brought my knitting as well, and I just knit a few centimeters on this, and I'll probably not bring this with me this December, just because I have so many other things that I would rather have done first, and this is something that can wait for later, because it's a potential gift for a potential future person that has not yet been decided, so there's no rush for it. And other than the knitting, I also went to a ceramics class. We had 3 nights, and we were just freestyling with clay, and they had some of these words. They had some old crochet doilies. Is that what you call these? This wasn't in the class. This is something I have at home because I like these. But they had some there, and I wanted to make some ornaments for the Christmas tree that was a bit craft inspired. So I made some flat pieces of clay, and then with the thing you use for baking cookies, I put the doily on the clay, and then I rolled over it and made indentations in the clay. And I thought these would make for some very lace inspired, almost traditional looking Christmas decorations for the tree. So I used some different doily patterns for some different ones, and I'm just using some red yarn that I have in stash to make some ties for them to hang them on the Christmas tree. And I thought I would show you, because maybe some of you have access to some clay. You could do this yourself. I'm quite happy with the result. A little fiber arts in clay arts. And good thing I don't have access to a burn oven in clay, because this would easily become another obsession of mine, and I think knitting is enough. Because I have a lot of plans for this holiday. So maybe we can transition into those plans. So first of all, I do plan to continue working on my advent blanket. So I have packed the remaining advent minis from Camijo Knits Advent that I'm taking with me. And I'm just balling them up by hand because I'm not going to bring my Swift, and I enjoy the little balls. I have 2 other advents, but I'm not knitting on them right now. I was considering taking them with me, but we are traveling in a smaller car with a pram and a baby and luggage for a month and a lot of other knitting things. So I am thinking of just leaving it here and then having it be a sort of January advent for me when I come back. Because I have one from Grenouille that's going into an older whip, and the zakami one, which I'm thinking of making a cardigan with. And it would be nice to do day by day knitting on that the way that I'm doing now, because I'm enjoying it quite a lot. But some other things that I would like to make. Nelly will be starting kindergarten next year. In Norway, kindergarten is from their 1-year-old to 6-year-old usually. And she's going to be starting, and the one wool item that I am missing are mittens. And I was talking to the person in the kindergarten in charge, and she said that knitted mittens are wonderful because they don't get as cold and wet as the store-bought ones, and they can still hold the shovel and stuff. So I made a little mitten, and I am working on the second mitten, and I am just playing around. I made a mitten that's called barnehagevotter, which means kindergarten mittens, but I didn't find they fit that well. I thought they were a bit too tight, so I'm trying to freestyle a little bit. I am using a yarn that's called finull, which is a yarn from Rauma, which I love. It's a very soft, lightweight, loosely spun yarn. It's 100% Norwegian wool, and it's 100 meters to 50 grams. And it's going to be very nice and warm. And I just knit back and forth for a few rounds, and knit straight, did some ribbing on a smaller needle, then I knit straight and I created a thumb the way I would do for a mitten for me, knit straight, and then did some circular decreases so it can be worn on each arm, which I think is practical, because if you lose one mitten you can knit another, or maybe you knit 3 if you have enough yarn and then you have a spare in case one gets lost. I was also thinking maybe of making a band that can go over the neck so they don't fall off and get lost too easily. We shall see. I was also contemplating maybe embroidering a little N on it so people don't confuse whose it is. I don't know how many other knitted mittens there are in her kindergarten. It's a smaller one, but yeah. So I'm working on the second one, and I'm gonna see how they fit. I do still feel like these are a bit tight to get on, so I might do it again with a few more stitches for the cuff. Maybe I'll try a different yarn combination, like per gynt or tynn per gynt held double, or with a silk mohair. I don't know. I want it to be warm, and this is definitely going to be warm, but it's also a thick yarn knit on 3.25 millimeter needles, so it's quite a tight gauge, which is good for durability and warmth and being water repellent and everything, but it is a bit of a tight fabric for the movement's sake. But I think they're very cute. So I'm going to be making more of these. I also think I want to make a warmer balaclava for the winter. And Petite Knit has, I think the November balaclava is the one that I have queued up that I might be making, and see if maybe I could use a yarn like this, which is going to be warm and nice. So that is something that I'm working on, and I have a bunch of other little scraps. I made a balaclava in this yarn for her, which I love, and I think I want to make a pair of mittens in this combination so they're matching, and these will be thinner, easier to wear, not as weatherproof as the thick ones, but maybe they will be good for spring and fall. I have this yarn, which is Filcolana Peruvian wool, and then I had some other fingering and merino scraps in my stash that could also make for some mittens. I'm starting out with colors that I think would be convenient in a kindergarten, playing outside all day long, but we shall see. It would be fun to make some different colors that fit her different balaclavas, but maybe I'm being a bit over enthusiastic. I don't enjoy knitting mittens at all. Another thing that I'm bringing with me that is on my potential list is something for me. This might be the very last thing in my queue, but I bought these two in Amsterdam. This is Lang Cashmere Dreams, and it's 290 meters to 25 grams. And the thought was to make a little scarf for myself in this Christmassy color. And I would really like to have it, but I don't know if it's what's most needed. I have a lot of turtlenecks, I have bigger shawls. This is going to be something more cutesy looking and not as functional as other items that I already have. So we'll see if I get around to it. I'm thinking this Sophie scarf or Sophie shawl, but I'll probably just knit until I've almost used up the first ball and then start decreasing so I use it all up. So that is one plan. And then of course I will be working on my blanket for the Blanketalong that I'm running with Woolly Knit. It's a Blanketalong for any kind of crafts that runs until the 1st of March. And to participate, you need to post a photo on Instagram with the hashtag WKxKTblanketalong. So it doesn't need to be a finished blanket. It can be something that you already have started. It's just about the cozy making of a blanket. And I'm knitting a cabled afghan using their Aran weight yarn. And this is my second panel, and I have not knit on it since the last time I podcasted because this is in the car and we haven't been on any road trips since last time. But we will. This week we're going away, so I will be finishing this section, driving down, and then starting the next one. And I haven't decided if I'm going to do another one of these because there are going to be 2 of these, and then there are 2 other panels. So either I just finish the second one, or I do one of the other ones so I can alternate so I don't get tired of them. The biggest section is already done, the center section, which I think is very beautiful. I finished this the last time we went to visit his family driving, so it's looking good for finishing this panel and getting quite a bit done on the second one. And I am enjoying this immensely. I'm really looking forward to having it done, but it's no rush. But it would be nice to have it done this winter. So yes, that is what's definitely going with me because it all fits into my basket that's going in the car. But I do have some other things, that I would like to make. One of them is a sweater for Nelly, and I have yarn for several versions of this sweater. So I made the fjädergenser, which is a pattern by Rauma, and they have a matching one for children. And my local yarn store is shutting down now in December, and they had a 30% sale, so I bought quite a bit of their finull yarn. And then they turned it to 50%, so I bought a little bit more, a few more balls. But I only wanted to buy things that I have an intended project for. And I love wearing my fjädergenser so much because it is very warm, yet soft and lightweight. So I thought it would be the perfect sort of middle to outer layer to knit for Nelly for the kindergarten. So I'm going to be making a version with white, where the color work is this bright orange. I saw this combination and I just loved it. I think it's going to be very nice for a little child. And the white is not finull because they were out of it already. So the white is per gynt, but the orange one is the finull in the color 20. And I also bought a version that's exactly the same as mine with more of a grayish white base and a brownish red color work, which I bought enough to make the 4-year-old size. So this will be the 2-year-old, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna make that one for the 4-year-old size. And I also have yarn for a dark green with that grayish white as a color work. So 3 potential color work knits for Nelly there. And then I got this color to make a red sweater for me. Now it's not a typical Christmas red, but it is a very wearable red for me. I really enjoy this kind of red. It's like a wine colored red. I hope it's showing up. It's the color 401. And yeah, I think it's more of a wine sort of red. It's a heathered colorway. The yarn that they dye on is not white. It's a gray-ish yarn, I think. And I got enough of this to make the Versailles sweater by Albina McLaughlin. Now I have a sweater quantity in a marzipan colorway from the K2P2 festival in Brera, which is also going to be a Versailles. And then I have this one. The thing about the Versailles pattern, which is one of the main reasons that I bought it, is that it comes with a lot of modifications for different necklines and sleeve lengths and sizes. I think I have not knit it yet, but I've heard great things, and I just really want to make it in different ways. Anna from the Brook Willow Knits podcast, she made a green version, and I really liked the neckline she chose, and I think that's what I want to do for this version. While for the marzipan white one, I might want to do more traditional turtleneck. Yet to be decided, but since we are in December, I'm kind of feeling like knitting with a Christmassy color. So after I've packed all the essentials, not that knitting isn't essential, it's very essential, but after I packed all the things in the car that I need to pack and the knitting that I will by no means finish, I can see if I have room for a potential knit that might be prioritized over something else. We shall see. But yeah, that is all. I think Nelly is about to wake up, so I think I'm gonna cut it off here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, check out the Vlogmases if you want to get in the Christmassy mood. It's a very chilled out Vlogmas with a voiceover, and I hope to record more throughout December. And I don't know when the next podcast will be, but if you follow me on Instagram, I usually post on my stories when I have another episode. And if not, if you subscribe here or click the little bell button, you'll get a notification when I do upload, which is not too often, but as often as I'm able to. I hope that you are making all the things that make you happy and that you find joy in this December month, whether you be in the northern or southern hemisphere. And yeah, show kindness, and I hope kindness will be shown to you and that you are well. And I will see you soon. Bye.